When it comes to Batman, his story has been told and retold so many times over the years that he's one of the most recognizable figures of all time. He's more famous than Jesus Christ. And with so many different people behind the cowl, there's been an interesting range of takes on the Dark Knight, from the wacky 1960s Adam West version to the more serious and favorable representations such as with Michael Keaton, Christian Bale, Ben Affleck, and most recently with Robert Pattinson. But one can only be crowned king, and that title belongs to Kevin Conroy. Nobody has played the role of Batman as many times or as eloquently as him. This brings me to the Batman animated series. Released in 1992, it still shines today as the best depiction of Gotham's greatest hero, thanks to its formal acknowledgement and loyalty to the comics. While originally intended for kids, it goes above and beyond as a complex and sophisticated series that proves itself worthy of any Batman fan. Some are probably wondering, why am I talking to you about a show this old now? Sadly, with Kevin Conroy's passing in 2022, the last time we'll ever get to hear any kind of new dialogue with him as the role of Batman came in the form of a game that has been steeped in controversy. Or at least, that's what we thought. Thankfully, there's at least one more project involving Kevin playing the role of Batman, but these are discussions for another time. Here, I want to take you back to the beginning. It's only fitting to go back to the start and talk about how the Batman animated series paved the way for generations of fans. Kevin Conroy's performance is a major contributor to the show's success, while it also shaped how we see the character today. He auditioned for the role initially knowing very little about Batman, apart from the 60s TV show.
Look there! A shark! What's that in his hand?
Shark spawn. And Joker's starting an island pullout.
Discarding those impressions, Kevin used his experience as a Juilliard graduate to make the role more theatrical.
I chose this life. I used the night. I became the night. Sooner or later I'll go down. It might be the Joker, or Two-Face, or just some punk who gets lucky. My decision. No regrets.
Not only this, but he successfully split the character into two distinct personas. One, a distinguished gentleman with a clear, deep voice for Bruce Wayne, while the other in a disguised, steely tone, that which gave Batman his true voice. Of course, what made this show great didn't just rely on the talent of just one man. There was a whole team of top-tier voice actors, writers, and animators. Such as they are, the truth of the matter is, this could have been a whole different story. The show began development with a team who had just finished the first season of Tiny Toon Adventures produced by Steven Spielberg. In this group is Bruce Timm, the actual character designer, director, and co-creator of the Batman animated series, who actually said it was a fluke. By this, he meant that at the time he didn't have any ambitions to create such a show. Although Timm is a huge fan of the character having grown up reading the comics, he didn't realize it's what he wanted to do until after Warner Brothers mentioned it in a meeting, as Batman was one of the properties they were looking at as a result of Tim Burton's 1989 Batman movie being such a big hit. After the meeting was over, and 2 hours later, Bruce Timm had created the jewel in the crown of his career. It just seems so hard to believe such an intricate show that deserves to be taken seriously originally aired on the Warner Bros. Kids television network. The writing is so well done that it's able to give Gotham's most wild and madcap villains a sympathetic backstory with a sense of realism and plausibility. Whether it's Clayface, who was the result of an experimental drug given to him that was promised to restore his good looks after being disfigured in a car accident, or Mr. Freeze in the Emmy Award-winning episode Heart of Ice, whose motivation was to save his wife from an illness with no known cure, leaving him the only option of freezing her to buy time until one could be found. But later, his employer, the CEO of GothCorp, discovered the funds for the company being diverted to keep her alive, who then tries to savagely shut it down by destroying Freeze's equipment and kicking him into a batch of chemicals, leaving him to die.
My God.
The episode is so prominent that it changed the character's history to be implemented in the comics, movies, and video games going forward. In fact, one of the most influential characters first appeared in this series.
The one and only Harley
In the show, she was voiced by Arlene Sorkin, who sadly passed away in 2023. Arlene delivered a peremptory performance that dictated Harley's personality in a way that has been carried across all forms of media. I'm sure most of you already know her story by now, but for those who don't, the story goes as follows. Formerly known as Harleen Quinzel, she was once a psychologist working at Arkham Asylum, where she fell prey to the Joker's manipulation and eventually falling in love with him altogether. Joker used that love and swayed her into breaking him out of Arkham together, where her new life as Harley Quinn began. What's really impressive is the character's juxtaposition of a real-life abusive relationship. Time after time, we see Harley physically and emotionally abused by the Joker. Whether it was over a simple offhanded remark or a misplaced joke that set him off, she'd always forgive him afterwards, as he only needed to give her the smallest token of affection to earn her forgiveness, creating a never-ending cycle. This show has so many layers of profound subject matter that are obviously skewed toward an older audience. A good deal of episodes tackle such issues as poverty, discrimination, corruption, atonement, mental illness, and so on. One theme that really stands out is Bruce's journey for self-discovery. In the episode Nothing to Fear, which serves as an introductory piece for Scarecrow, where Bruce comes in contact with a dose of fear toxin that causes him to hallucinate. While hallucinating as Batman and chasing Scarecrow, one of his illusions confronts him resembling his father, while also taking shape in the form of Death, telling him he is a disgrace, to which Batman looks Death straight in the eye and gives his sweeping declaration of who he is and says this.
I am not a disgrace. I am vengeance. I am the Knight. I am Batman.
This line became the be-all and end-all Batman quotes. It neatly sums up the character's purpose in life and what he's meant to embody. The show never shies away from the darkness surrounding this character and depicts the character's perseverance like never before. It's a show where many can find inspiration, and it's easy to see why it has stood the test of time. Something for generations to come will admire. And as I get ready to end this review, I can't think of a better way to do that than to leave you with these words by Kevin himself, explaining the significance of Batman and the decisions we make that determine who we are.
We're all flawed, right? And we all get damaged by life. So it makes Batman that much more relatable because he's so much like us in a way. What distinguishes him is that no matter what life throws at him, no matter what crisis or challenge or failure, he never lets it crush him. He never lets it make him angry or bitter. He takes that pain that life throws at him and he turns it into something positive. And he gives it back to the world as love. Because his whole mission is to leave the world better than he found it. And it's the nobility of that mission. That's what we admire so much about him. But that's something we can all aspire to in our lives. You don't have to have superpowers to want to give to the people in your life, to want to leave the world a better place. All you have to do is care enough to try. Care enough to want to. Because, Kevin, everybody faces challenges in life. Everybody faces disappointment, crisis, failure at something, at some time. Because we're human. And we all need help at one time or another. Everybody on this planet stumbles at one time or another. But that's not what defines us. What defines us is how we get back up and learn from our mistakes and get back into life and contribute. You have no control over what fate throws at you. You don't know what's coming tomorrow or next month. Life throws curveballs at everybody. But what you do have control over is how you react to those curveballs. You can let them crush you and make you bitter. Or you can learn from them and take that knowledge and get back into life.